Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this episode, we're going to be installing parking brake cables on my 2004 F350. Stay tuned for more. So what happened was, I engaged a parking brake cable one day and I heard it basically pop. And I just thought because I wasn't using it very often that it was fine. I went to use it again the next day and it popped and it went like completely to the floor. I checked and I didn't see that the cable, the parking brake cable was engaged still. But I drove around and I could tell that the caliper, was kind of hanging, or the parking brake was hanging. I came back and I realized that this cable actually exploded basically from the inside out. And right here you can kind of see that the cable, the plastic sheeting ripped off and the cable exploded, and that's where I cut it, where it actually came apart at. And so what I did was I found the part number. I contacted Ford directly to get the exact part number because it's different with each cab length. But I'll show you the ones for my truck. It's a extended cab long bed, so it should be the same. But we're going to go ahead and start swapping these out. So here's the part number here. And again, this is for a extended cab long bed configuration. So basically what happened here was, whenever I cut this cable on this end, there was still tension because this clips into part of the axle. This clips into it, and then between here and the actual piece here is a spring that holds tension on it. So in order to remove this section, you'd have to get rid of that spring to release these tabs to pull out. So what I did was I cut that spring and this cable in half, and I was able to pull all this out. The next thing we're going to do is remove this bracket that holds the cable on. There you go. That was just a 15mm nut. So this is the connection here that I was talking about. This is the cable that comes from the front of the cab at the actual brake pedal. And it comes to this little bar here, and it splits off from side to side. So we're going to work on disconnecting this. And then it looks like it has the same style like insert that holds it into this little bulkhead here. So we're going to try to figure out how to get this out of there. So looking at the new one here, this whole piece is metal. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to cut it out. Cut it flush against this side, and then it should just be able to pull out. And the new one looks like it should just push right in without any issues. I'm going to go ahead and start routing this driver's side cable. That way I don't lose the way that it routed. And there you go, it just pushes right through. And obviously with the age of the old one, it wasn't going to come out that easily. And there we go. So what I did was I put it in the hole here, and then let this section just kind of, you have to pull this spring up to expose the cable, and then you can push this in, and then I rotated it so the tabs are touching that ear. Now my original little bracket here is bent differently, so I'm just gonna leave it the way that this wants it. You could see the routing of the old cable, which I don't really, there's not much difference, so I don't think that'll cause much issues. I'll just keep an eye out for it, and if I have to, I can modify this to make it a little bit better. Now moving on to the passenger side, you actually have to start on the driver's side, because right below that other bracket is another one for the passenger side. Same thing, another 15mm nut holding that on. So here's a better view on the passenger side. So basically this still has tension on it from this spring being held. So there's no real way to release these tabs holding this in without cutting it. I mean, you can spend a bunch of time, but it's easier to just cut it in half, and then you can pull both out. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. The last thing to do is there's one final bracket on the actual differential there on top that holds the e-brake cable there. So we're going to get underneath and remove that bolt and get this cable disconnected. So the bolt on the differential there is a 13mm, and then while I was down there I found another one. Let's see where it's at. It's right here, and that's a 10mm. So I went ahead and fished that cable out. Just watch all the brake lines, and there's a wire that it's connected to that you have to disconnect. And other than that, we're going to go ahead and put the new one in now. let's give it a try. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in for another video. Please consider subscribing, hit that like button, and leave me a comment on what you thought and what you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.